Sure. As we discuss the amendment before you here today with my substitute, I'm reminded of what my father told me when I became a state legislator. His words, which I will never forget, and which guide me and remind me every single day, especially with this amendment and this issue and these bills, are who I work for as an elected official. He told me when you step up to be elected or appointed, you decide to take a step down. You have committed to working for all the people above you who voted you in, who, like you or not, with various interests or concerns that often conflict. Your personal views take a back seat to various groups before you, and you agree to work for who elected you, not special interests. In dealing with the 3 fishing bills before us today, I'm deeply disappointed that our own State Department so heavily favored one group over another on this issue. After months of hearings and a work group specifically assigned to find areas of compromise between sport fishing and commercial fishing, we sit here today with virtually the same bills before us that we had last May. Simply put, there was no compromise. Therefore, I'm bringing forward this substitute that does compromise in areas of true substance. These are changes where commercial fishing members stepped up to the plate and were willing to make significant changes to how they fish and contribute to sustaining our fish population. These are the following concessions by commercial fishing groups that were made. They agree and will compromise to remove allowing a total of 65 allowable commercial fishing licenses, keeping it at just 13 that are in operation today. They've agreed to compromise by financially putting a percentage of their profits towards management of the Great Lakes. They've agreed to compromise regarding the tending of nets and the definition of unattended gear, lifting the nets every so often. They agree to compromise on language stating that the taking of fish is a privilege. They agree to compromise on language specifically specifying what waters can be fished commercially. They agree to compromise on the number of days commercial fishermen have to retrieve lost gear. They agree to compromise on changing the total amount of fish that can be undersized from 5% to 2%. They agree to compromise and add new penalties, higher penalties for fish taken illegally. They agree to compromise on the number of infractions permitted before a commercial fisherman's license is permanently revoked from 5 to 3. They agree to compromise and do daily estimated reporting and weekly final reporting on the pounds of fish taken, as well as provide the market value and to whom it was sold. They agree to compromise and eliminate the section rescinding certain rules. And they agree to compromise on other enforcement and regulations such as real-time reporting and GPS coordinates. All commercial fishing wants in return is to have the same access to fish species like other states that are allowing commercial fishing to look at taking additional species such as lake trout. The DNR director absolutely refused to even consider this summer. And my question is commercial fishing really asking for something out of line? Is my substitute really out of line by saying that these bills reflect exactly what a certain sport fishing group ideologically wants without science-based evidence to back it up, despite the urgent message from commercial fishing that the fish species in the Great Lakes are changing? If we look at what our own Michigan DNR has previously published and what other states are doing, I think you can agree and support my substitute. In 2010, the Michigan DNR published a white paper document that is currently available on their website. It reports the changes in Lake Huron's ecosystem and food web in regards to Chinook salmon. To quote that paper, which explains the science behind the Great Lakes and what invasive species have done, it says, rising reproduction rates of walleye, yellow perch, and perhaps lake trout may mean that Lake Huron will become less dependent on hatchery supplementation than in the past. A less dependent hatchery system will be significantly less costly to manage, but it will be more likely to produce surprises. The lake users will need to adapt to what the lake chooses to offer. instead of what the DNR can stock from its hatcheries. Agencies will be less successful than in the past at molding the Great Lakes into their wishes. In a June 2019 Detroit News article, the DNR Fisheries Program Manager said that Michigan fisheries are as good as they have ever been. Lake Erie fishing is outstanding right now. Saginaw Bay walleye populations are fully recovered. Lake trout are improving and doing well in Lake Michigan and Huron, and we now have a stable, self-sustaining lake trout population in Lake Superior. Again, quoted from our own DNR. This reporting from the DNR Fisheries Manager is also consistent to what Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Canada are now allowing their commercial fishing operations to catch. Both Minnesota and Wisconsin allow for commercial fishing to take a quota of lake trout and whitefish on Lake Superior. Wisconsin is also allowed to take a quota of lake trout, whitefish, and perch to be caught by commercial fishing groups on Lake Michigan, and Canada allows commercial fishing to take quotas of lake trout, walleye, perch, and whitefish. Yet in Michigan, under these three bills, fully supported by our DNR director, commercial fishing is and will only be able to continue to take quotas of just whitefish. Again, he was absolutely adamant that there would be no compromise on the taking of similar fish species in other states. If this is the hardline stance that our DNR director stands behind, I feel it needs to be said that he has made these bills a constitutional and legal issue having to do with equal protection and due process. If commercial fishermen and women in our Great Lakes have been afforded the right to catch lake trout and perch, but their competitors in Michigan are not, what is the basis for this hardline approach from the Michigan DNR director? Make no mistake, I have asked for the biology and scientific evidence of our director's stance on this, and commercial fishing groups have also asked for it. The DNR has supplied us with nothing. This committee has received no scientific evidence in which the department is making their case. The burden is on the DNR and its director to explain why the same privilege or benefit in other states to take other species of fish is not being equally shared. When the fish are public resources owned by the citizens of our state, we demand an answer. Do you honestly think these bills are equally protecting and representing all Michigan residents with your harsh stance? Do you really think the judge will grant Michigan sportsmen privilege over our commercial fishing groups and our tribes? Commercial fishing proves a service. It offers hundreds and thousands of meals to people that come to various Michigan cities to enjoy local fish. They support restaurants and small businesses in all corners of our state. Without commercial fishing, they'll have to buy from Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Canada. People want to be able to eat fresh fish out of the lake. Some of them are sportsmen, but maybe they don't want to catch it themselves. Maybe they're elderly. Maybe they're like my family, who doesn't have the time anymore to go out and fish for ourselves. We've been told over and over again by the MUCC and our DNR director that we have to get our house in order before the consent decree expires. We've been told that we have to make commercial fishing groups take concessions so we can leverage those against our tribal members when negotiating. My question to you about this is, have you forgotten the lessons of the 2000 consent decree? Have you forgotten that our courts must rule with the greatest amount of leniency towards our tribal members if the doctrine does not specify details on these provisions? Have you not researched what has taken place in courts in other states and taken warning to your current bills? I can tell you that we have. Other judges have, and our tribal members have. If you don't think that our tribal members are watching what you do on these commercial fishing bills today, but more importantly, how you treat another group of fishermen who do the same hard work that they do every day to provide fish to their members and residents of this state, I think you are being naive. If I was a tribal member watching this today, I couldn't help but wonder how your actions against commercial fishing would impact my members who do the same work. And that is exactly what I am hearing back from my tribal fishermen in my district. With only 13 commercial fishing groups on the entire Great Lakes in the state of Michigan, the fear from our DNR director and the MUCC that commercial fishing will reach its heyday again is statistically impossible. It's become clear that the DNR is choosing to represent the ideology of one group, ignoring science, ignoring other states, and taking a rogue approach that, in my opinion, will backfire. It's hard to sit here and be at odds with a state department and a major sporting group, but I go back to what my father said to me when I took this job. I work for the people as a whole, not special interests, and I refuse to sacrifice my integrity to do the right thing, not the political thing here, and vote for a bill package that is rife with only one side's wishes. Thank you.